Among those who were caught in the middle of this second wave of flooding in the Schoharie Valley and the Catskills today was Senator James Seward. He's joining us on the phone now to talk more about the damage across his district. Senator, thank you so much for your time.
Well, Liz, thank you for having me.
So tell me what you've been seeing out there today. You've been out and about in the rain.
Well, that's true. Yesterday I was in Schoharie County, today in the Greene County portion of my district on what I'm calling a recovery tour, because we're in that time of recovery from the floods of 10 days ago. But as I pulled into Prattsville about 9:20 this morning, we got right in the middle of a potential evacuation of Prattsville because of the heavy rains of overnight, and for a few moments there we thought we were right back in a flood situation.
Wow.
Thankfully the rains did stop at least time enough for the creeks to go down, and there was not the widespread problem that we saw, on August 28th. But
sure.
I'll tell you, there were some anxious moments. Also in the Schoharie Valley, there were, voluntary evacuations, the same situation, the fear that we were back into a severe flooding situation. Thankfully, it was not quite as bad as we thought this morning.
So now, obviously, a lot of people lost so much that I think that they were kind of unfazed by what happened today because they just couldn't lose anymore. When you talked to people, how are they feeling generally?
Well, obviously, for a while this morning, there was a lot of trepidation because of the what they've been through, and there's just fear of it just happening all over again. But you're absolutely right. There are mixed feelings out there. And on one hand, I see great resiliency on the part of people wanting to come back, wanting to rebuild and fix their homes, reopen their businesses. But there's also a lot of fear and uncertainty about the future, particularly because there are gaps and challenges and problems that they are facing right now in this what I call recovery time. For example, people are finding that their homeowners insurance does not cover, for the most part, flood damage unless there are particular provisions. Also, businesses, as they talk to FEMA and the Small Business Administration, SBA, they're only being offered 4% loans, and many of the small businesses are telling me that they just cannot, particularly in these times, cannot take on additional debt, and so that's a severe problem, for both homeowners and businesses, and that's why I was very pleased that the Governor Cuomo did today. He's requesting from the federal government to allow homeowners, businesses, and farmers to retroactively enroll in these federal flood insurance and crop insurance programs. I hope that works, because that will provide some help for both homeowners and businesses and our farmers, because without some additional help, my fear is that many people, many businesses will just take a walk, and that's going to mean that many of our communities are going to become ghost towns. Yeah,
Senator, let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, there's been a lot of speculation and talk from some folks who question the wisdom about rebuilding in places that are so threatened by flooding to begin with. Can you say anything to that?
Well, Liz, I cover a 7-county district, in part of it in the Adirondacks, out in the Finger Lakes region. I'm Central New York, and of course in the Catskills, spread out in my district. I've had flooding issues throughout the district. It's not just simply a Catskill mountain issue, but I got to tell you, this flooding event was unprecedented. I'd say it wasn't a 100-year flood; it was a 500-year flood, and we've had flooding in areas that just never have seen this before.
Right.
And so I think that this is such a highly unusual event that I would hate to see people just walk away. Obviously, through FEMA has mitigation programs that we can help with the efforts to try to dredge out the streams and take some precautions that will avoid this problem in the future through mitigation. But I certainly want to see our communities come back and to thrive once again. because what happened a week and a half ago was such a highly unusual event.
Yes.
I don't want people to take a walk.
Senator, do you think that the state could do anything more? I know the Cuomo administration has really been quite active, but the governor is not bringing the legislature back at this point to do anything regarding post-Irene recovery. Is there anything more that the state and the legislature specifically might be able to do?
Well, I think going forward, I certainly want to see us come back either later this year or certainly early in our 2012 session. There are a couple of things that specifically I hope that we can do together, and I'm working with the Cuomo administration and my colleagues on a couple of thoughts. Certainly, what the governor's asked for this retroactive flood insurance, that will be a help. And I'm working with the administration, urging them to come in with some immediate cash infusion for small businesses in particular.
Senator,
take some of the...
I'm sorry, I think I just interrupted you saying what I was just going to ask you. I know that Assembly Minority Leader Brian Kolb wanted to take some of that economic development aid, $200 million, that's slated for competitive grant applications, and give $50 million of it towards recovery aid. Do you agree with that?
Well, I certainly do. That's a potential source. I think we can work with existing funding streams, just divert some of that in the direction of rebuilding the economies of these hard-hit communities. I think it would help us with our overall economic development efforts as a state, and I know it would sure help our local communities. So I think we can do that within existing funding streams by redirecting them right toward these flood-stricken areas. So I think that's a potential source. I'm hoping the administration will go in that direction. I know they're looking at it. I'm in talks with them as well. Going forward, Liz, here's another problem that I see for local governments in terms of their local infrastructure, the roads, bridges, culverts, that type of thing.
Right.
Under the FEMA designation, they will be eligible for, and the state as well, 75% of these repairs will be covered with federal money. 12.5% of the cost would be state, and 12.5% a local share. Now, Liz, back in the 2006 floods, the state picked up the 12.5% local share to help local governments. Now, I certainly hope that going forward, as we get into new budget talks, that we can also do that again,
Senator,
this time for local governments.
Forgive me for cutting you off. I'm so sorry, but we are out of time, and I know that you're on the phone from somewhere in your district. I hope that you stay dry and also safe. I want to thank you so much for calling in for us.
Well, Liz, thanks so much, and this is going to be an ongoing story because it's going to be a while recovering. Of course, we unfortunately may see some new flooding in other parts of the state, in the Binghamton area, and even in my own, in the western part of my district tonight, where, as I'm in Greene County, the western end of my district is being hit with heavy rain.
Okay, well, we will stay on that. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Liz.